Foundation and Empire, by Isaac Asimov. Book 2 of 3. Prologue. In a vast galaxy, the mighty galactic empire is on the brink of collapse. Hari Seldon has developed psychohistory, a science that predicts civilization's future. Seldon foresees the fall of the empire and proposes two foundations to minimize suffering. One foundation, on Terminus, grows powerful through economic warfare. The dying empire seeks to regain control, leading to a clash between the two sides. The battle will determine the galaxy's fate. Will the Foundation create a second empire, or will the empire reclaim its former glory? Part 1. The General. Bel Rios visits Siwenna in his quest for magicians. He meets Dusum Bar, who denies the existence of magicians. They discuss rumors and cults surrounding magic and the state of Siwenna. Rios reveals his military background and exile to Siwenna. Despite Bar's reluctance, Rios persists in questioning him about the magicians. In a clandestine meeting, four men gather to discuss a looming danger posed by an imperial general who plans to attack the Foundation. The men engage in a heated debate, deliberating on the most effective strategy to counter the threat. After much discussion, they realize the necessity of gathering intelligence on the enemy's vulnerabilities. They reach a consensus that employing young independent traders as potential spies could be a viable solution. General Bel Rios was faced with a daunting task. He had discovered the existence of a small but formidable enemy known as the Foundation. Desperate for assistance, Rios sought out the expertise of Dusum Bar, a respected Siwennian. Bar, a believer in the principles of psychohistory, was hesitant to join forces with Rios. Psychohistory, a science that predicted the collective actions of human societies, had foreseen the empire's eventual downfall at the hands of the Foundation. Bar firmly believed that the empire was destined to fail in its attempts to subdue the Foundation. Despite the grim predictions, Rios refused to accept defeat. He challenged the infallibility of psychohistory, asserting that he possessed the power of free will to shape the course of events. Rios was determined to prove that the empire could overcome the Foundation, defying the seemingly unyielding laws of psychohistory. With unwavering resolve, Rios vowed to utilize his strategic brilliance and military prowess to outmaneuver the Foundation. He was willing to risk everything to secure victory for the empire, even if it meant defying the predictions of psychohistory. Bel Rios seeks help from Dusum Bar in his fight against the Foundation. Bel Rios believes the Foundation poses a threat to the empire and wants to prevent it from gaining power. Dusum Bar explains that psychohistory predicts the eventual rise of a second galactic empire, regardless of Bel Rios's actions. Bar believes the empire cannot defeat the Foundation due to the predetermined course of history. However, Bel Rios remains determined to challenge the predictions and fight against the Foundation. General Bel Rios discusses his strategy with Dusum Bar. Rios believes the Foundation poses no threat and reveals that no reinforcements will be sent. A captured trader, Lathan Devers, enters the room and complains about the treatment of his cargo. Rios questions Devers about an incident involving a soldier's death. Devers denies carrying nuclear explosives and is surprised to learn the empire still exists. Rios claims Devers knows about the Foundation's plans for a second empire, but Devers denies this. Bar questions Devers' confidence, and Devers realizes Bar is the silent partner. Bar explains his understanding of defeat. The general interrupts and orders Bar to be responsible for Devers. They are taken to a small room, where Devers reveals a hidden device. Devers questions Bar's allegiance to the empire and Bar admits his hatred. Devers recognizes Bar's name and reveals his knowledge of Bar's family's connection to Hober Mallow. Bar confirms his allegiance and they shake hands. General Rios and Brodrigue discuss the military campaign on the periphery. Rios explains his cautious approach and the need for an enclosure to minimize casualties. Brodrigue questions the need for reinforcements and suggests that Rios and the prisoner he has captured may have more information about the enemy. Rios explains that the prisoner is not of much use and lacks the necessary tech men to understand the enemy's technology. He also mentions that his psychic probe has failed to extract information from the prisoner. Brodrigue suggests speaking to the Siwennian trader that Rios is keeping for future reference. The conversation ends with Rios revealing that the enclosure is complete and the 20th Fleet will advance towards the core of resistance within the week. Brodrigue feels deflated by the news. Sergeant Maury Luck delivers a book to Lathan Devers and Dusum Bar, taken from a captured planet, as a souvenir for Engineer Orr's children. The sergeant reveals that the general has finished the enclosure and the offensive is about to start. Devers and Barr discuss assassinating Rios, but Barr advises against it and suggests targeting Brodrigue instead. Devers considers bribing Brodrigue but is warned that he cannot be easily bribed. The sergeant interrupts their conversation to express gratitude and acknowledge their different social statuses. Lord Brodrigue visits Devers on a trading ship and offers him a large sum of money for information about the general and the war. Devers reveals that the general is after the Foundation's secrets, ancient books that hold the key to transmutation of elements and a new source of power. Brodrigue reveals that the Foundation has already tried to negotiate with the general, but he refused. Devers receives his payment and the conversation ends. Brodrigue warns Devers that he will be executed if he betrays their conversation to Rios. Rios meets with Barr and reveals that Brodrigue has become his second-in-command after being bribed. Rios also reveals that the Foundation is losing the war. Suspicious of Devers, Rios tries to use a psychic probe to extract information from him, but before he can, Barr attacks him and they escape with the help of Sergeant Luck. They flee the planet on a trade ship, leaving Brodrigue and Rios behind. Devers reveals that he had deceived Brodrigue and has sided with Rios. Devers and Barr are on a ship heading towards the Foundation. Devers is frustrated because they have lost contact with the Association and he doesn't know their exact location. Devers receives a message from the Association confirming that Rios's offer of tribute was refused and there is fighting near the Foundation. Barr reveals that he has a personal stake in the war and explains the sacrifices he has made for Siwenna. Devers is pessimistic about the Foundation's chances against the Empire, but Barr reassures him that the plan is already in motion and they just have to wait. Barr gives Devers a message capsule that he took from Rios, and Devers is hopeful it might contain something useful. Barr finds Devers absorbed in opening a capsule. Devers successfully opens it and reads a message from Amel Brodrigue. Barr dismisses it as unimportant, but Devers suggests using the message as evidence to convince the Emperor that Brodrigue and General Rios are plotting against him. Barr is skeptical but Devers insists on going to Trantor to meet the Emperor. They prepare to leave on Devers' well-equipped ship and activate the hypernuclear motor to shift into hyperspace. Lathan Devers and Dusum Bar arrive on Trantor, the administrative hub of the Galactic Empire. They navigate bureaucratic procedures to enter the planet and explore the city. They read about the Foundation fleet's defeat by General Rios and realize they must hurry. However, they know Trantor operates slowly, so they expect a month-long delay. Regardless, they plan to make the most of their time on Trantor. Despite offering money, the Home Commissioner refuses to help them due to the Emperor's absence. The Commissioner accuses them of being spies and assassins, leading to a confrontation. Devers kills a police lieutenant and they escape. Pursued, they use hyperspace to elude their chasers. Barr reveals that the war with the Foundation is over and Siwenna is rebelling. They decide to return to the Foundation. Lathan Devers feels uneasy at a ceremony marking the end of the war. He yearns to return to space, where he feels most at home. Siwenna becomes the first province to transition from the Empire's political rule to the Foundation's economic rule, with the Siwenese delegation signing a convention. Imperial ships of the line fly overhead to salute the occasion. Devers is approached by Forel, a wealthy man, and Barr, who is being accused of modesty. They discuss the recent events and the role of psychohistory. Barr explains that the Emperor saw General Rios's success as suspicious, leading to his downfall. Barr believes that the Foundation will always triumph due to the nature of the Empire. Forel suggests that there are no more enemies, but Devers hints at the possibility of internal enemies seeking to redistribute wealth. The conversation ends with tension between Devers and Forel. Part 2, The Mule. Approximately 100 years have passed. Beta and Turan visit Turan's father, Fran, in their small living room. Fran criticizes Turan for getting married, but Turan defends his choice. Beta joins the conversation and shares her thoughts on the galactic situation and the failure of Selden's plan. She believes a crisis is imminent and that the Foundation has fallen into the same vices as the old Galactic Empire. Fran agrees and expresses frustration with the ruling class and wealth distribution. The conversation heats up, but Turan tries to calm his father down. The discussion revolves around the state of the Foundation and the traders of Haven. Fran admires Lathan Devers, a trader who died in the slave mines, and criticizes the Foundation for his death. Turan disagrees, stating that the Foundation is more powerful and the traders should seek allies within it. Randu suggests that a Selden crisis is approaching and mentions the Mule, a potential threat to the Foundation. He proposes that Turan and Beta go to Calgon to gather information about the Mule. Fran interrupts, requesting another drink. Captain Han Pritchard finds himself in the mayor's opulent anteroom. Frustrated by his stagnant career, he ponders how lesser-qualified individuals continue to surpass him in promotions. He enters Mayor Inber II's office, where he is met with the mayor's quirky habits and impeccable organization. The mayor addresses Pritchard's insubordination and reviews his record in detail. Despite acknowledging Pritchard's commendations, Pritchard remains tight-lipped and adheres strictly to protocol. The mayor questions Captain Pritchard about his disobedience and refusal to follow orders. Pritchard argues that he is acting in the best interest of the state and believes certain crucial matters are being overlooked. He mentions the emergence of a powerful warlord called the Mule and insists that investigating him should be a top priority. However, the mayor dismisses Pritchard's concerns, commanding him to focus on collecting taxes from rebellious traders instead. Pritchard attempts to make his case, but the mayor warns him to obey orders or face charges of treason. Despite receiving urgent orders to proceed to the rebel world of Haven, Pritchard decides to defy the mayor's instructions. Instead, he sets his course for Calgon, determined to gather evidence that will prove his point about the Mule's threat. On Calgon, life continues despite the Empire's fall and the rise of warlords. Turan and Beta arrive, blending in with the crowd. They watch a clown performing acrobatics on the beach and are amused. The clown approaches them, intrigued by Beta's presence. Turan interrupts, skeptical of the clown's intentions. The clown apologizes and explains that he is a stranger seeking help. He hopes Beta will assist him. The clown is being chased by a guard, who reveals he's a runaway from the court of the Mule, a feared ruler. Turan convinces the guard to release the clown by claiming him as his own. Later, a lieutenant who works for the Mule questions Turan and Beta. Turan's status as a citizen of the Foundation intimidates the lieutenant, and they are let go. The lieutenant, frustrated, desires disciplinary action against Turan. The story is set in a massive hangar on the planet Calgon, functioning as a hotel for visiting ships. The protagonist is searching for a specific ship among hundreds. He eventually finds a Foundation ship and approaches it undetected. Inside, Turan and Beta discuss their dilemma about the Mule, a powerful figure who may come for their companion, Magnifico Giganticus. Just as they mention the Mule, a stranger claiming to be a Foundation citizen arrives. Turan is suspicious, but Beta convinces him to listen to the stranger. The stranger is Captain Pritchard, a member of the Foundation, and he reveals the Mule's threat to their plans. Pritchard suggests using Magnifico, who has seen the Mule, as proof to wake the Foundation up to the danger. Turan and Beta agree to help and start planning their escape from Calgon. However, they soon realize that the Mule is allowing them to leave, which could be a trap to justify attacking the Foundation. They understand they must act quickly, even though they aren't fully prepared. Ebeling Miz storms into the mayor's palace without following protocol. He tells Inber about a Selden crisis, and reveals that he has been researching psychohistory. Miz has been using hints found at the Time Vault and insists that what he is about to reveal is not in his reports. Frustrated, Miz throws his hat on the floor and sits on a corner of the mayor's desk. Inber is intrigued but skeptical. Miz explains that Hari Selden has prepared a personal simulacrum to help during each crisis, and he has determined the exact date of the next crisis. Just as they are discussing, Inber's secretary interrupts with news of Captain Han Pritchard's imprisonment and unauthorized ships entering Foundation territory. Miz urges Inber to take action, reminding him of the impending crisis in 4 months. Inber is stunned and unsure of what to do. A conference is being held among the 27 independent trading worlds to discuss their distrust of the Mother Planet Foundation. The choice of the meeting place, Raddle, was important due to its central position and strategic location. Raddle City, despite being located on a harsh planet, is a luxurious oasis. The attendees are aware of the ongoing war in the galaxy. Some are confident in the Foundation's ability to come back, while others speculate on the mule's involvement. The conversation shifts to more general topics. Fran forms a friendship with a local, Iwo, and they discuss their past experiences and the changing times. Fran reveals to Iwo that his son was sent to Calgon with a specific purpose. Fran believes that his son's actions have led to the mule's attacks on the Foundation. Iwo shares rumors of 500 ships ready to join the fight against the mule. Fran expresses concern about the mule's ability to acquire ships and his recent victory at Horlegger. Meanwhile, Randu meets with two other men to discuss the mule's growing power. Randu reveals that his nephew was sent to Calgon as an observer but inadvertently helped the mule by abducting a mule underling. Randu's nephew is now being held prisoner by the Foundation. Randu shares that his nephew claims the mule is a mutant and questions how one person could achieve so much in such a short time. The others suggest waiting for more evidence. Randu proposes attacking the mule with their 1,000 ships, but the others refuse. The next morning, Oval Gree informs Randu that Naman has been attacked by the mule. Oval reveals that the mule possesses a new weapon, a nuclear field depressor, which has rendered their nuclear weapons useless. They discuss the mule's growing power and the need to fight him despite the odds. Beta waits anxiously in Ebeling Miz's house, concerned for Magnifico's safety. When Miz finally arrives, he presents Magnifico with a rare instrument called a Visi Sonor. Miz instructs Beta to act interested and appreciative as Magnifico plays the instrument, explaining that he needs Magnifico to feel at ease in order to extract information from him. As Magnifico plays, Beta is captivated by the shifting colors and figures that appear before her, finding the experience visually and audibly stimulating. Beta marvels at the composition and asks Magnifico if it is his own creation. Miz suggests that Magnifico could use his talent to perform for others and become rich and famous. Magnifico is hesitant due to his fear of a psychic probe, but Beta encourages him. Miz reveals that he wants Magnifico's help to defeat the mule, offering to use a surface probe on him. In Mayor Inber's quarters, Miz outlines his plan to weaken the mule and win the war. Inber accuses Miz of treason, but Miz dismisses the accusation, highlighting the Foundation's retreats and losses. Inber reveals that the Association of Independent Traders has declared war on the mule, bolstering the Foundation fleet. Inber believes that the mule will ultimately be defeated and that Selden had foreseen the mutants' attack. Miz asks to attend the grand opening of the Time Vault, and Inber reluctantly agrees, instructing Miz to stay out of his sight for 9 weeks. In the Time Vault, Mayor Inber III and Randu clash over ship distribution. Randu fails to convince Inber to change his decision. Beta and Turan join Randu as they leave. They encounter Captain Pritcher in the Time Vault. Time is running out as it approaches midnight. Meanwhile, Magnifico feels dejected after a concert. He wonders if important people were present in the audience. Suddenly, Hari Seldon appears in a glass cubicle and shocks the audience with news of an impending civil war in the Foundation. Confusion and panic spread as Seldon's words do not align with their reality. Ebeling Miz realizes that the unexpected factor, the mule, is attacking. The mule cuts off nuclear power and begins bombarding Terminus, plunging the people into fear and despair. Beta, Ebeling Miz, and Magnifico decide to flee. The next day, the mule's ships invade Terminus, bringing the planet under his control. Haven is under attack by the mule. Beta encounters Judy, who is upset about her husband being on space patrol. Beta tries to comfort her and convinces her to go home. Beta then talks to Hela, who suggests making a deal with the mule. Beta disagrees and leaves. The new girl in the dining room overhears gossip about Beta's thrilling escape from the vault. The dining room empties as the time bell rings. Randu and Ebeling Miz discuss the growing sense of defeat and frustration on Haven. Beta also notices the declining morale. They talk about how the loss of faith in Hari Seldon's plan is affecting people's mental and emotional state. A psychologist and his friend discuss the mule's supposed mutant powers. The psychologist believes the mule has weaknesses that can be exploited. They discuss the possibility that the mule may not actually be a mutant and how his reputation has helped him. The psychologist is researching the mule's clown to find weaknesses. They also talk about the mule's victories and speculate that Haven may be waiting to surrender. The psychologist's friend is urged to go to Trantor to find more information on the Second Foundation. Captain Flawn Pritchard joins the underground to resist the mule's conquest of the Foundation. He seeks out the Fox, who advises him to infiltrate nuclear field bearings, Inc. and gather information. Pritchard works at the company for 2 months before receiving a message from the Fox, prompting a meeting. At the meeting, they discuss plans for rebellion against the mule. Captain Pritchard devises a plan to assassinate the mule. He enlists the help of a former chamberlain to access the palace's alarm system. Pritchard intends to create a riot as a distraction while he carries a bomb to kill the mule. However, when he confronts the mule, he realizes the mutant is not present. Instead, he encounters the mule's viceroy, who reveals that the mule has conquered the Foundation and intends to expand his control. The viceroy offers Pritchard a chance to join them, but he refuses. The viceroy discloses his past as a warlord and his loyalty to the mule. In this interlude, Turan and his companions evade a blockade and learn that Haven has surrendered to the mule. Turan is affected and walks away silently. Ebeling Ms. speculates about the mule's methods and the significance of Magnifico, the mule's clown. The group discusses their own experiences with disaster and the uncertainty of their future. Ebeling Ms. ponders learning what Magnifico knows about the mule. Later, Turan's crew encounters a Filian ship. Turan pays a fine and is asked to help with the ship's power plant. Turan is angry and demands to know why Magnifico is involved. Turan's crew escapes the Filian ship, but Turan believes it was a Foundation ship controlled by the mule. Magnifico reveals he saw Captain Han Pritchard on the ship. They theorize Pritchard staged the encounter to confirm their identities. Turan initially wants to destroy the ship, but the crew convinces him that Pritchard let them go to protect his mission. Turan is saddened by the loss of Haven, but his crew understands his pain. Neotrantor is ruled by Emperor Dagobert IX. Jord Comison wants to capture Foundation refugees for information about the mule. Inchny suggests compromising with the prince and leaving him a mysterious pale woman. They receive a personal capsule about the mule's man and the fallen Foundation. Beta is disappointed by the Emperor's appearance. The Emperor welcomes Turan and his companions and plans to destroy Gilmer. Turan and Ebeling Ms. inform him that Gilmer is alive and request to visit the Imperial University Library. The Emperor becomes agitated, starts writing a letter, but forgets. They try to leave but are stopped. They overhear the Regent and Crown Prince discussing the Emperor's immortality and plans for Beta. Magnifico reveals the Crown Prince's possession of the Visi Sonor. The Crown Prince accuses Magnifico of stealing a ship and demands he play the Visi Sonor. Magnifico plays to protect Beta, causing the prince to die and others to become incapacitated. Magnifico reveals his intentions. They suspect being followed by a Foundation ship. Ebeling Ms. shows newfound clarity. The story is set on Trantor, a massive city planet. Lee Center leads a peaceful group who have chosen to isolate themselves from the rest of the galaxy. One day, a ship lands on Trantor carrying 3 men and a woman. Center welcomes them and offers hospitality. They discuss farming on Trantor, and Center reveals their reliance on trade for food. The strangers express interest in exploring the university grounds, and Center agrees to accompany them. Later, Center sends a message to Neotrantor about the strangers' arrival. Turan and Beta arrive at the university on Trantor and are amazed by its ancient grandeur. They feel like intruders but manage to set up a simple living arrangement. They support Ebeling Ms., who is buried in his research at the library. However, Beta's behavior becomes peculiar, and Turan confronts her about it. Unexpectedly, Han Pritchard, a former friend who has joined the mule, shows up. He assures them that he is not there to arrest them and claims to have found them by chance. Turan suspects that Pritchard's arrival is not a coincidence and questions how he discovered their location. Pritchard insists that he comes in peace and explains that he had the farms on Trantor report their arrival. Turan and Beta remain uncertain about Pritchard's true intentions. Later, Colonel Pritchard visits them to try and convince them of the futility of fighting against the mule. He reveals that the mule has the power to manipulate people's emotions and control them completely. Pritchard confesses that he himself has been converted to the mule's side. Beta, however, doubts Pritchard's claims and challenges him to bring the mule himself to condition them. Pritchard leaves, promising not to report their presence. He warns them that the mule is aware of their search for the Second Foundation and that they are doomed. Meanwhile, Ebeling Ms. celebrates a personal victory in the library. Beta and Turan visit Ebeling Ms. 3 times in the last 2 weeks of his life. During their first meeting, they inform him that Colonel Pritchard has discovered the mule's mutation. Ebeling explains that this mutation is what has caused the downfall of the Foundation and that it is related to a flaw in human emotional responses. He also reveals that he has found the published minutes of the psychological convention where the foundations were established, but there is no mention of the Second Foundation. Ebeling believes that the Second Foundation is the more important of the two and that he can still find it before the mule does. Beta and Turan are settling into life on Neotrantor after the defeat of the mule. Beta asks Magnifico to deliver a message to Turan, but then asks Ebeling Ms. about the mule's ability to condition emotions. Ebeling explains that Magnifico's fear was a result of the mule's conditioning. Beta then asks about the Second Foundation, but Ebeling hints at the secrecy surrounding it and the complexity of Hari Seldon's plans. The text discusses the existence of the Second Foundation, which is a world of mental scientists. Beta and Ebeling speculate on the location and capabilities of the Second Foundation and the consequences if they fail to defeat the mule. Ebeling becomes increasingly obsessed with finding the Second Foundation and eventually reveals that he believes Beta must go there to provide vital information. However, before he can disclose the location, Beta shoots and kills him. After the explosion, Beta and Turan mourn their fallen companions and discuss the possibility that Beta has been influenced by the mule. Beta admits to killing Ebeling Ms. because he knew the location of the Second Foundation and would have told the mule. Turan is shocked to learn that Beta suspects Magnifico, the clown, of being the mule. Beta explains that Magnifico has the power to kill through suggestion and has caused them to feel despair in the past. Magnifico confirms that he is indeed the mule and shares his background as a mutant with mind-manipulating abilities. He wants to use his power to overcome the hardships he faced as a mutant. The mule reflects on his rise to power and his plans to defeat the Foundation. He explains how he used emotional control to manipulate people. He realizes his mistake in falling in love with Beta and acknowledges that he has been defeated by the Second Foundation. Beta expresses her faith in Hari Seldon's plan and predicts that the mule will be the last ruler of his dynasty. The mule considers establishing a dynasty but ultimately decides not to pursue it and leaves.